is up, everybody? How is everybody doing today on this wonderful brand new day that our Heavenly Father, Lord and Savior, God, and Jesus Christ blessed us with today? We are going to be taking a look at a DartZone blaster. This blaster is very unique and it fills a specific niche. I'm still very surprised I even got my hands on one of these at a thrift store. Today we are going to be taking a look at the DartZone Cornerfire. Now what in the world is this weird looking blaster? Well, it's a semi-auto flywheeler, 10 shot, cylinder fed blaster that can do this. Let's get into it. Of course, we are going to be starting off with the ergonomics of the blaster. So the grip. It's pretty comfortable. It's definitely not the best thing ever. I'm definitely not the biggest fan of this grip. It does get the job done pretty well. I like the details of it. It's pretty darn comfortable. Not a whole lot to note here. This big rev trigger kind of takes it away from me a little bit, but I do like it. This blaster has a grip, this weird wood grip thing. It's also pretty darn comfortable. It's definitely not the most comfortable thing ever. It does work. I'm not the biggest fan of it. It does get the job done though, and I like it. And you also have this. What does this do? We're gonna get into that later. The Cornerfire does not have a stock attachment point or a barrel attachment point. This is a Primetime Toys 2020 DartZone release. So this came out with a lot of other cool flywheel blasters like the DartZone Spectrum and a bunch of awesome springers like the DartZone Villainator, DartZone Sportsman, Nexus Pro. Like DartZone in 2020, they really took off as the real #1 blaster brand. They made some awesome stuff. And 2020 was a pretty darn tough year due to, I'm not even gonna mention it, but when it comes to foam flinging, I feel like 2020 was one of the best years when it came to foam flinging, in my personal opinion. So many cool, unique blasters by Hasbro and DartZone, some by X-Shot even. And it was definitely not Hasbro's best year when it comes to Elite 2.0 and other stuff, but 2020 holds a lot of memories in my heart. This blaster has a permanently fixed in scope and it cannot be removed, but it does have this iron sight that you can put it on other DartZone Picatinny rail blasters. I tried things like my Dictator and Nexus Pro. I can't put this on there, so I think it only works on standard DartZone Picatinny blasters. The design of it looks pretty darn good. It is very goofy though. I can understand why they made it goofy because of the feature we are going to be talking about pretty soon. It looks decent. It's definitely not the most attractive thing ever, and it definitely doesn't look like the most practical blaster, but trust me, there is a lot of cool stuff we're going to get into here later. A lot of DartZone blasters don't really have a whole lot of paint, but it has all these little details and all these little decals that still make it look pretty appealing and still make it look pretty darn good, in my opinion. I do like the color scheme of this. This is the standard DartZone Cobra Ops color scheme with the green, the orange, the black. I think it has a very good look to it. I absolutely love the color scheme. Green is one of my favorite colors of all time, so I definitely dig it. You have 3 sling points on the blaster, one back here, one under here, and one up here. So if you want to sling this thing, you totally can. This blaster has a 10 dart cylinder. That is super fun to do. I definitely need some practice trying to do that, but this holds 10 darts. This is completely removable, and the thing that sucks is there's only one that comes in with the blaster. If you get it out of the box, brand new, it only comes with the one cylinder. And this my gosh. There's no lever. There's no lever. You just push it from here and just push hard, and you can buy spare cylinders from DartZone's website if you want to. Well, if you'll be able to get access to a Cornerfire, because as of 2025, I tried to look for some Cornerfires and I couldn't find any. Like, they discontinued this thing. When these blasters come out, you gotta get them before they're gone, because they could be gone forever, which sucks. I can't believe I have one, because I got this thing thrifted, and it came with a cylinder. There was another one I found thrifted along with this one. It did not have the cylinder in it, and the fact that this did, whee! Hey, got it. Oh my. Come on. There we go. Yeah, the Cornerfire. How do you take the cylinder out? You don't take it out from this side. You take it out from this side. So just push hard on the right side, and you can drop out your cylinder. That is super fun to do. But that was embarrassing though. Holy crap. Let's get into the main gimmick of this blaster. What does this button do right here? Well, you push it, and you can turn it left or right. And that means you can shoot around corners with this blaster. That is amazing. There's some other Nerf blasters that can shoot around corners. They're either not very practical, or they don't really work all that well. There are some very cool ones that I'm going to post up here on screen. This one, coming from DartZone, being a flywheeler, and we all know DartZone's flywheelers, at least their standard ones, at about 80-90 FPS. They hit really good for a stock blaster, and this is a semi-auto flywheeler. So, you hold down the rev trigger, and you can fire it. It's having cylinder rotation problems. I don't know if it's just the fact that it's dirty, probably, because when I pull the trigger, okay, now there we go. When I pull the trigger, even when it does rotate good, it feels very clunky. It doesn't really feel snappy. It feels, yeah. Maybe that's just how it's supposed to feel, but yeah, you'll see that during the firing. It's definitely not the fault of this blaster though, because when you get it new out of the box to see reviews, it doesn't have this problem whatsoever. What is awesome about shooting around corners, you may ask? Well, say if you were hiding behind a barrier and you want to shoot somebody from cover, you can just turn it and aim at your target. And there's actually a mirror here, so this scope can actually help you aim. I've used this in some scenarios, and it actually works. I've done some testing where I've hid behind corners, and it worked. Like, I turned the scope, I found my target, and I was able to hit it, especially with the DartZone Adventure Force Waffle Head darts, because those darts are absolutely awesome and very accurate. There is one huge flaw I have with DartZone flywheelers, and that is this. Take a look at this. I don't think this is the problem, why mine is not rotating the cylinder, but check this out. Do you see that? DartZone pushers are incredibly loose, brittle, and weak. That also happened with my Tomahawk 62. You know, when I did my Alpha Auto 72 review and I talked about how much the Tomahawk 60 loves to break due to its cylinder rotation, probably the heavy drum, or just the pusher being terrible. Well, yeah, DartZone flywheel pushers are not very good. This blaster is absolutely awesome though so far, so let's go out to the range and see how good this thing fires. Let's see how this thing does. Flat. Oh. There we go. That is really impressive. I had a couple misfeeds. Let's try that again, shall we? There we go. Oh, there we go. And we are out. It's a DartZone flywheeler, so it hits harder than those flywheels. That is really impressive, but let's see if we can get more distance. Let's angle them. Hit the tree and fell. In the world? There we go. This was very dirty when I got it thrifted, so when I pull the trigger pull kind of feels a little mushy. And my darts are kind of worn, so that's probably the issue. And now we are going to switch over to these. What are these darts exactly? Well, these are the Busby long distance darts. These have really, really good distance, but they're very inaccurate. They're the same colors as darts on waffles. You can tell they're different by the more nipple head style. So, let's see how these do in the Cornerfire here. Oh, there it goes. We are out. That was pretty good distance. They're inaccurate, but that's pretty much what I expected. Let's do 10 more flat. Oh. What the? I mean, that was angle shots, but holy crap, it's getting really fiddly. So, what do I think of the DartZone Cornerfire? What are my overall thoughts and opinions on it? And would I recommend it? Forgot to mention, this blaster takes 6 AA batteries. So you just unscrew it and put your 6 batteries in. The DartZone Cornerfire. This blaster definitely works. It is a lot of fun to use. It's a semi-auto flywheeler that can shoot around corners. You got this scope that's actually really helpful, useful, and works really well, especially when you're using the included DartZone Adventure Force waffle head darts. It looks pretty goofy, but I can understand because of the corner gimmick, and it is very, very cool. The rev trigger is pretty nice and smooth. The trigger, even though my model doesn't really want to work well, the trigger is pretty nice and smooth. It works well. The grip and foregrip are pretty darn comfortable. The corner gimmick, most importantly, works super duper well. It doesn't completely turn 180 degrees, but it does work. It definitely has a lot of potential to be a game changer when it comes to using corner shots or just shooting behind corner. This blaster is definitely not for everybody though, because if you are not going to use something like this that shoots around corners, you might just want to get something else different, like a DartZone Spectrum, Tomahawk 60, Thunderbolt, Alpha Auto 72, just any other no flywheeler, because this blaster fills a specific niche. I definitely like the look of this barrel here. This sight, I mean, it's just a sight, but it looks pretty cool, and you can use it if you want to. Overall, my personal opinions on the DartZone Cornerfire, I like it. It's pretty fun, and I definitely like the corner gimmick. I don't use it a whole lot. I use it sometimes, but it is definitely a very cool, practical, niche-filled blaster. It fills a specific niche. Not everybody is going to want to use something like this, because if you don't have any areas where you can hide behind cover and try to shoot around corners, this wouldn't really work well. If you don't have maybe for some reason, if you don't have a other DartZone flywheeler and you just have this and you take it to a war, you can still use this without the corner gimmick, because it does shoot pretty darn well and it works. My recommendation for the Cornerfire is pretty darn high. It's definitely not for everybody, but it does work and I like it a lot. Plus that is super fun. Hey, got it this time. Hey, got that one too. Oh, missed that. I'm gonna try it. Got it. I think the Cornerfire is pretty darn awesome. Thank you very much for watching this review. Hope you all enjoyed it. If you didn't, that's okay. I just hope you all found it interesting. I hope you all have an amazing day, and I will see y'all in the next one. And as always, peace out.